Good morning, everyone. Will DuPree here in the KXAN live studio. We, of course, want to build up some viewers, so I might hold off in just a moment, but we are talking about the weather, of course. Now, today it might not seem that big of a deal. It's pretty warm outside, and if you take a look out there, a little cloudy as well out there, and you see the state capitol. But we want to bring in our meteorologist, David Yeomans, who is talking about the possibility of wintry weather coming up. Surprise, surprise. It's kind of hard to say that almost. But David, welcome. We appreciate you being here.
Nice to be here again, Will. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the KXAN live streams, so
We're growing it. We're growing
it's
it.
great to be back.
Again, taking a look outside right now, it is pretty nice conditions out there. A warm day, a cloudy day.
That's right. It's almost record warm this morning, Will. It's been in the lower middle 60s. Our record warm value for today, I think, is 69, so almost there. The record high for today is 83. We might get close to that as well early this afternoon, but it's what happens mid and late afternoon that's going to be interesting. We're watching that cold front coming in.
So it's pretty much a roller coaster that we're talking about. Very warm today, and then it's going to drop out.
It is.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So let's get into it. You sent me some graphics a little bit earlier. We're talking at current temperatures at the moment. You mentioned record warmth possibly today.
Right, yeah, we're in the 60s right now. That record is in the lower 80s. I think we do hit 80 degrees. Will, it's possible we jump a little bit higher. The cold front, though, which it's no secret where it is on that map up in Abilene and 25 up in Amarillo, that has sped up just a bit. Sometimes we see this happen with these shallow, cold air masses. That heavy air slides down the plains with little resistance during the nighttime. So now it's not far from the northern hill country. You guys up north of Lano are going to start to cool off before lunchtime. I think in Austin we'll probably hit our high temperature a little earlier in the afternoon than we typically do, and then by 4 or 5 o'clock, getting the kids at the bus stop and driving home, we'll be starting to cool off. Nothing too bad today, but we'll be falling into the 60s with some wind chills in the 50s by mid-evening, we'll call it.
So a big change is headed our way very soon. Again, we're going to be looking at possible wintry weather coming in tomorrow, David, right?
Right. So there are two separate rounds, and I don't want to ring the alarm about tomorrow morning, because that first round that's possible tomorrow morning is really not going to be a big deal. What happens overnight tonight, once the cold air starts filtering in and some rain starts to develop, really tomorrow morning our only minor concern is out in the northern hill country, and that's on this the first map here showing the precipitation type. So cold rain is all most of us are going to see tomorrow morning. It's only really northwest of Burnett and Llano where we have cold enough temperatures by dawn tomorrow to possibly make a couple sleet pellets or maybe some freezing rain, which is just liquid rain, which then freezes on contact. But you know, the temperatures out there, they might hit freezing tomorrow morning in the northern hill country, but the roadway temperatures will. It's kind of interesting. When it's 75 degrees today, and it's been so warm really for the last month, the roadway is quite warm. So when you get a big cold blast like this, it's actually delayed. You know, it might be 32 in the air, but the roadway might still be 40 or 50 degrees, and that has an impact when we're talking about, you know, potential ice forming.
Yeah, potentially better conditions for the roads then.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, all liquid rain. It's going to be a nasty day. Early. It's going to be 40 degrees and raining tomorrow morning and windy in Austin.
Fun.
But again, not too worried about the icing threat tomorrow.
All right, so let's go to this next graphic here. You're showing us another type of precipitation that's possible.
So this is late tomorrow night into Thursday morning. This is just less than 48 hours away now. This is not common, Will, because usually, you know, it might be a wintry mix of sleet, of freezing rain. This time, the air is going to be cold enough and deep enough, it looks like, to where if this second wave of precipitation comes through late tomorrow night after 10 p.m. into pre-dawn Thursday, it would fall as snow. All of our computer models are agreeing that the column temperatures from the ground up to the sky will be at or below freezing. So this second round of precipitation is going to be lighter. It's not going to be a major winter storm, but I think it's very possible that a lot of us see some snow flurries, mainly overnight tomorrow night into early Thursday.
What is still wild. I cannot get over this. You know, 80s possible today.
Yep.
Snow maybe tomorrow, maybe into Thursday.
And then better
What?
yet, the day after this on Friday, Will, it's going to be 75 degrees.
What is up with Texas weather? Come on now.
I know.
Yeah.
And actually 9 years ago to this day, it's interesting. We were talking about the morning show. 9 years ago to this day in 2011, we had almost an inch of snow in Austin, which was a big deal for Austin.
Yeah, for sure.
We had 300 car accidents in the morning commute at the rate of 1 or 2 every minute. I want to be clear, there were people sledding and everything. This does not look like that. The temperatures that day were 20 degrees. There was a much more moist powerful storm system coming in. This time we're going to be 32. It's going to be a borderline situation, and we don't have the kind of precipitation falling that would make for a sledding kind of morning on Thursday.
Good to allay some of those concerns that people might have,
Yeah,
because
just a
I'm
little
sure a lot of
dusting.
people might remember those conditions back then too.
Sure, but as you know, Will, it only takes a couple of slick bridges and overpasses to maybe shut down a school district or
Right.
something. So it's certainly worthy of paying attention to tomorrow night.
Which is why we want to mention too, the Texas Department of Transportation already had crews out today pre-treating some bridges and overpasses, particularly in Williamson County. Is there a reason why they're going up north?
Usually temperatures are a little colder up there,
Yeah.
and just 1 or 2 degrees can make a difference. They focus on the bridges, the overpasses, and that's because of the ground temperature that we were talking about. When you have a road that is on the ground, it's insulated by the earth underneath it. If you have a bridge that's floating up in the sky, then you have cold air on top and cold air below it, which actually cools off that roadway quicker. So our last winter weather, brush of winter weather a couple months ago, we had, I believe it was Ben White and Lamar in South Austin, one of those elevated roadways, have a little patch of ice on it. Those are usually the problem spots.
So potentially not too much of an issue, but again, something that everybody's concerned about and trying to monitor as well. Now, looking forward to tomorrow, we're
Yes.
talking about 7 a.m. on Wednesday. This particular graphic that you sent me, David, talks about that. So address what this is.
Yeah, so let me take you through. This is our newest high-resolution computer model, and it's interesting. I told you tomorrow morning we're pretty certain we get some stuff falling from the sky, mostly rain. The following morning is a little bit more shaky. Does the dry air cut it off, or does it, snow? I'll talk about the interesting trend that we're seeing just since I got to work at 2 a.m. In a moment when we get there. Tomorrow morning, let's start you off chronologically. It's raining. That green color is just some cold, nasty, light rain in the Austin area, and burn it. Now notice just west of the hill country and past Mason, according to this model, that pink color, that is a little bit of sleet mixing in, maybe a little bit of freezing rain. This computer model keeps it out west of the hill country. I think it's not picking up quite on all of the cold air. I think that pink color could be coming into Mason, Llano, San Saba, Colorado Bend State Park. As we discussed, we could see a little bit of sleet out there early tomorrow morning, but I don't think it sticks. I don't think anybody has any icy roadways tomorrow. Now on the next one, tomorrow afternoon, that first wave is over. Remember I told you there are 2 distinct times when this might happen. Tomorrow afternoon, the sun might peek out. It's going to be cold and windy, like 45 in Austin, I think, for our high, after we're in the 80s today.
Wow.
But there's no precipitation. Now, here's where things get interesting. On the next one, 10 p.m. tomorrow night. Look at that. The clouds have thickened up back again. And what's that white color out in the hill country? Those are not just the clouds that are white everywhere, but those little blotches of white and gray. Those are radar-indicated snow that could be falling. So this is a second little piece of energy in the atmosphere. And what's interesting, Will, is that one of our best computer models has seen this happening consistently for the couple days leading up to this. A lot of our others are not. They say the air is going to be too dry tomorrow night for anything to fall from the sky. So yeah, it gets cold tomorrow night, but maybe we don't have the moisture necessary for snow. The interesting trend that I'm seeing just since I got to work, this computer model and another one, which were dry tomorrow night, they're now hopping on the bandwagon and saying, yeah, we've got enough moisture around tomorrow night to make for something falling from the sky. And as we discussed, if it does, that would be snow at that time.
And the models maybe later today might have a better indication of what that will do.
Generally speaking, as you've talked about with Jim with the severe weather event several weeks ago, the closer we get, the better the data is, usually the more accurate it's going to be. So this is 10 p.m. tomorrow night when we could see a couple flurries. Here's 11:30 p.m. tomorrow night. This says maybe some rain mixed with sleet and snow. I think it's more likely to just be light snow if this does happen. On the next one, we'll advance a couple more hours. If the kids want to see, some snow flurries tomorrow night, maybe parents will be nice enough to let them stay up. But this is going to be a late night thing. This is going to be when it's dark out, mainly between like 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. So many of us may not see this even if it does happen. But after 1 a.m., we're thinking that little disturbance exits the area. So mainly late tomorrow night. I'll bet we do see a couple flurries. And what happens with that? So the temperatures are going to be at freezing or below. I sent you another map which is showing the consistent computer model, which is saying, yeah, some flurries fall. And look at this. Not only that, but a little bit of a dusting of snow might fall. And this is not some wacky model that some guy invented in his basement. This is the best computer model in the world, the European model that we often refer to when we're talking about hurricanes or whatever else. And this says, this is not going to be widespread on the roads, but grassy surfaces, maybe the hood of your car or the windshield of your car as well, we could get a little dusting from this on Wednesday night into Thursday morning.
Truly a wild experience of these next few days. And of course, you guys are following it. And if you're just joining us, we're talking to David Yeomans here about the possibility of wintry weather arriving not only tomorrow, potentially, but also overnight into Thursday. So two different rounds we're talking about here. One more graphic we wanted to show.
Yes.
This is kind of what we should expect for the days ahead.
And this kind of summarizes it. I know that's a lot to digest, this computer model of that one. Here's what I want you to take away. There's a 100% chance tomorrow of it being really cold and windy. So that's the main impact. Kids, you've got to dress for 20-something degree wind chills at the bus stop in the morning, and the wind chill doesn't get much better through the day. Flurries and light snow, it's not going to be a major winter storm, but I'll bet we do see a couple flurries if you're up late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. And again, with the temperatures that we're expecting, as long as something does fall from the sky, we could easily see a little grassy accumulation, maybe a dusting in your backyard if you're under one of those snow showers, and a couple slick bridges and overpasses. So not tomorrow morning, but the following morning is when we could see a couple of roadway impacts. And that's true all across the area for all of our 15 counties, including Austin.
Once again, everybody, David Yeomans is here talking about wintry weather arriving. And if you look outside right now, it's just cloudy and pretty warm out there. So it might seem a little bit impossible that this change is going to happen. But of course, you all are tracking the latest conditions and letting you all know that this may be an issue tomorrow and even into Thursday. So we do appreciate that information. David, tell us about what you guys are going to be tracking through the rest of the day. What are you expecting to find out more?
Yeah, so we get, as that cold front advances and as the attendant storm system advances as well, we're always getting new data and new computer models. I told you even since I got into work at 2 o'clock this morning, things have changed, and things will be changing again by the noon show, where I'll be updating you again on air. And Jim Spencer's got you tonight with new computer model data. So again, in an ideal world, typically, as these events get closer, we get more and better data on them and what to expect exactly.
Yeah, much clearer picture, hopefully. But again, you all are tracking the latest conditions. We do appreciate you joining us here and telling us all this information, a lot to digest. You can find more details on our website, correct?
That's right. Yeah, we've got a whole in-depth blog with all of this, with all the screen grabs of those different computer models. If you want to share it, show your friends, show your neighbor. That's on the homepage of KXAN.com, and a nice forecast video there as well for you.
All right. David Yeomans, everybody. He's going to be on at noon, so turn over to Channel 36, NBC right here, and watch him there for the latest on this potential wintry weather that's going to arrive tomorrow and into Thursday. David, thanks again.
Thanks for having me, Will.
And thank you all again for watching. We will be, of course, tracking all of this and providing the latest information to you, so stay with us here. You can follow along on KXAN.com, the KXAN News app, and, of course, on our streaming platforms here on KXAN Live. We'll see you back here later throughout the day. Have a great one, everybody.